anything to read out from. I'm just going to tell the story. This is a personal story since, yeah, is listening.
Use that.
Oh, I learned to pronounce your name properly. I practiced. Okay, true story. I missed the millennial generation by about 6 months. Or maybe I should say that the millennial generation missed me by 6 months because I was born in July 79. And you're counted as a millennial if you're born after 80. But I think I'm a poster child for everything that millennials are accused of. I'm confused, I'm entitled, I don't know where I'm going, I think I know everything, or it seems like I know everything, and I don't have a sense of identity. I've lived in Mumbai all my life, and I'm an only child, nuclear family, and my parents are both immigrants. My mother grew up in Delhi, my father grew up all over South India, so I have no sense of where I come from. All my classmates, my colleagues have always said, oh, my native place is here, and मेरे कल्चर में ऐसा होता है, मैं क्या बोलूँ, मुझे नहीं पता मेरे कल्चर में क्या होता है, because I eat everything from idli to paratha to bread. I studied in a Catholic school in a Muslim neighborhood. क्या पता, कुछ नहीं पता. So I graduated in 2000, actually a couple of years after that because MBA and all that, and I came of age in a millennium thinking that I was very well equipped for it because I'd spent 10 years of my life in a city that saw bomb blasts and a lot of rioting, and after the Babri Masjid issue, the entire city was on fire. I saw all that happening. I've been in a bus that got stoned. And well, I'm from Bombay, you know, so big city person and all that. I know how to handle it. I've been traveling on my own for 10 years. And I came out into a world where there's this reality staring at us, which has become something that all of us know very well. A word called recession. There's no jobs available. There's nothing available anywhere. So here I am, freshly minted MBA, with nothing to do with it. And only child, and I missed the boat like the rest of my cousins. I didn't become an engineer and I didn't marry an engineer. So there's no way out. I managed to find a job, and this job, because I took what I could get, was in a place that I had never heard of before. Like some of my friends may have heard of in my own flamingos, a place called Chinchpokli. Now I live in Andheri West. So from Andheri West to go to Chinchpokli is pretty much like going to 2 countries away. I'm not kidding. I used to take a bus and then a train, then change over at Dadar, take one more train, get down and walk for 15 minutes to get to work. And then the same thing in reverse. Of course, sometimes I'd vary it with a Harbour Line train and so on and so forth. Some adventure to the day. So this was my life every day. And I work for an agency, which means if any of you are ever planning to work for an agency, get ready to write your life away. Because it's 10, 12 hours of work at least. And recession ke zamane mein you're getting a job and all that, so you kind of do okay, I need to manage. Because in college I thought I was very cool, I like reading, I like writing, I sing and all that, and kya kar rahi hu main? I'm spending all this time in the train, and then I get to work and I spend 10 hours a day staring at Excel sheets about sales of fairness creams and toilet bowl cleaners. Kahan ja raha hai? Where is my life going? No love life, no sex life, nothing happening. There's no Tinder and all that time. There was no Tinder, there was no Facebook. One of those days, I was on my way to work, and I remember all these thoughts that go on through my head, because what else is there to do for those 2 hours that you spend in all the different ups and downs? There's no one you can talk to also because phone lines keep dropping. And you have to switch, you have to get down at Dadar when other people are getting down at Lower Parel. And then you have to switch to take a train for 3 stations only, and nobody there wants to talk to you because they're like, why are you coming into the train for 3 stations only? So all of that you learn to live inside your head. And one of those days I was traveling and it started raining. You know, if you've been in Bombay long enough, you know the city has a way of doing it. It never rains early in the morning, then you can then call office and say, बहुत बारिश हो रही है, I can't come to office today. It starts raining half an hour after you have left home. So that means you have enough time to get adequately soaked and mud spattered on all your nice clothes and all that, and you reach office, and then for the rest of the day you have to sit smelling your own dirty feet and wet hair and everything. And you're supposed to be professional and all that. So it started raining. And I was already 20 minutes away from office, so abhi kya baat nahi बनती है ना to come back. चलो क्या करें. I got to office, I sat and started working. At some point of time, now I had an office, that I didn't have my own office. I was working in one room filled with 6 people. Luckily, we had 2 windows. 2 windows under us. So every now and then we'd look up and, aaj bahut barish ho rahi hai na. And then around lunchtime, my friend said, "Chal, jaake dekh ke aate hain. Let's go for a walk." Mumbaikars do all these things. No, walk ke liye jate hain because you spend your entire life inside this little cubicle. So we go down the 2 steps, and we say, "Pani yahan tak aa raha hai yaar. Bahut barish ho gayi. It's raining a lot today." The city sanitation, BMC को 2-4 गालियाँ दी, अभी क्या करें? Now let's get back to work. Went back to work, and then some 2 hours later I look up because I'm a very well-trained professional animal. I don't look up until it's time to look up, and there's a lot of commotion around me, and people are saying, apparently HR has sent a mail saying it is raining very heavily. If you want to go home, you can go home. I'm like 4 बज गए यार. Now this is like most of the day gone. It's not even like I'm going to get a half day. चलो ठीक है. I get up and I suddenly realized that it's actually raining really heavily outside, and I've only been working in this place for about a month in Chinchpokli. I don't even actually know the route. Now again, think this is a time before Google Maps, so I have no idea. I know which train goes there, and I know what train station se utar ke how to get to office. Trains are going down, मतलब मैं घर कैसे जाऊँ? And there's nobody else. Then this guy who I know very vaguely, and I don't like him too much. I always think he's a little close. Sits across the floor and he comes and tells me, "You live in Andheri, na? I'm taking a cab to Andheri. Chalega kya?" I go, "Chalo." So that's how it is. You just take whatever ride goes. So we get into the cab, and then I realize I'm going to spend a long cab ride with someone I don't know and don't like in this damn smelly interior of a taxi while it is pouring outside. You can't keep the window down because the rain is coming in. You put it up, and then suddenly it is like being in a sauna. So I sit and I entertain myself with my own thoughts, try not to look at him. He's sitting right next to me, and our bags are smelling, our shoes are smelling. A little later he says, "I don't think this taxi is going to move." It's been about 45 minutes and we moved exactly 1 signal because it was raining so much and there was so much traffic. So then I say, "Ab kya kare?" And then he says, "Udhar ke chalte hain." And I'm like, "What?" No, we don't walk and all that. We take an auto, we take a bus, we take that. He's like, "Dekh rahe ho, barish." There's nobody can get out here. And he's already got down by then. So I said, "Okay, now what can I do? I have to get down." I think ganda lagega na. I just keep sitting around like my maid servant, he gets down. So I say, "Chalo, chalo, theek hai, chalte hain." And I have no idea what route to take. And this is, I know now, that area is called Parel. This is right outside Lalbagh, where the Lalbagh Raja, the Ganpati idol is kept every year. The biggest one in Maharashtra. Yeah, Lalbagh Raja. That's why Ganpati is called Lalbagh Raja. And we start walking. And I said, "Where are we going?" And he says, "Dadar station to chalte hain, and then you'll see wahan se train milegi." I'm counting in my head, because as a Mumbaiker, you tend to count everything in terms of hours or in terms of number of stations. You have no idea how distance is. So, मैं Parel में हूँ, that means I've travelled a little bit from Chinchpokli, so that means I must be near Parel station. और Parel मतलब Dadar is the next station. तो ठीक है, I have no idea when the water level rose up from here to here, and we were wading in formal clothes, and I had a leather bag which I was holding above my head. And there were people in front of me. Again, I think as a Mumbaiker, you're just not sensitive to when it becomes crowded. More crowd, excess crowd, you have no filters there because it's all different shades of crowded, especially if you grow up in Andheri. So we're pushing past people, and as we're walking, we're passing one bridge, and I realize there's a wire hanging down. My heart stopped because the previous month I'd seen a movie called Hard Rain, where it had rained and rained and rained, and one wire drops into the water, and everyone in the area gets electrocuted. And I'm thinking, मैं मरने वाली हूँ, I'm going to die over here. And कोई देख नहीं रहा है, like what is wrong with this city of mine, man? They say, कोई मर भी सकता है, nobody will care. Bombay में people will keep going on, जाते रहेंगे. I'm thinking, I haven't spoken to my mother. I think I left angry this morning. मैं मरने वाली हूँ. I'm going to die a virgin. कुछ नहीं होने वाला मेरे साथ. Yes. Women also have such thoughts. I'm going to die a virgin. ये सब होता है. And then I edge past the wire like this and go as if it's going to make a difference. वो पानी के अंदर जाएगा तो. Anyway, it's not going to matter. And I realized that people were holding hands and walking. And I didn't even realize someone was holding my hand and walking. I said, chalte, we got to the other station over the bridge. We go up to the bridge and I'm thinking, finally, I have a story to tell. I walked from office to the other station. And we go up to the bridge and look. And I can't see where the platform ends and where the tracks begin. The water level is that high. The only reason we are standing not in waist deep water is because we are on the bridge. And I look at him, this guy, and I didn't even know his name very well. He was just one of those people on the floor. His name was Shiju. And I said, now? And he says, now what? Now we continue walking. Kept walking, and I just followed him, and I realized there were places that I knew because Kabhi dad had taken me somewhere, some family friend's house. This is the first time I was actually mapping my entire city in my head, and I've lived in the city my whole life. But I've always travelled by road or wherever it is. Someone else has driven the car or the train. I never really walked this entire way. We continued walking. I realized I had not seen a single cop. I had not seen a single fire officer, a single ambulance. But I didn't see a single person running because, well, no trains to run for. I had not seen anyone yelling at anybody, no fights, nothing, nobody getting angry, no raised voices. I passed one shop where a man was just standing with a tray full of tea and offering it to people. Just people passing by the road, or just a pavement like this, he's standing there, and he was the shopkeeper. And then he puts it down on a table and he goes inside to bring more. These were chote plastic cups, I still have that in my mind. Just picked it up and walked on. And the water level started rising, of course, because we had gotten off the bridge. Kept walking, these memories come back to me in flashes because it was a really long journey. We left office at 4 o'clock. By the time we got to the other, it must have been 6 o'clock. And then we got to 5 minutes down the road from here, where SV Road meets the highway. And we got to that place and I said, finally I'm at a place where I know. Yahan se main ghar chal ke ja sakti, because Bandra is like the extent of, for an Andheri person, Bandra tak jana is like, there. So like home. And I've been trying to call home and I'm not able to get through because the phone lines were all down. And then my aunt calls and her voice is sounding normal, and I said, I still remember the only thing I could say is, did you reach my parents? And she says, yes, I reached your parents, they are fine, where are you? And I said, if you get through to them, call them, tell them that I'm okay. That's all I had a chance to say before it got cut again. And this colleague of mine has walked on a little further. He's walked on down to SV Road. I can see him in the distance. There are still people scattered around. And then on the highway, at some distance, almost half a kilometer away, and it was empty, I saw an auto. So I started running towards the auto. And this guy turns around and he's pagal ladki, and pani mein I'm splashing and running with my bag above my head. And this guy comes running after me. And that auto guy turns around, looks at me, and he takes the auto and speeds off. This is the only horrible creature I saw on that day. दिखाई दे रहा है that people are मर के आ रहे हैं, चल के आ रहे हैं वहाँ, and I'm screaming, जिन पोकली से चल के आ रही हूँ मैं, what is wrong with you? ये वो तू जट डूब मर. And then we already walked that way, and this colleague of mine has come running. Our original plan was to come walking down this road, SV Road. But we've already walked. We now don't want to backtrack and come. Itna chal chuke already. We said, chalo, let's keep walking. So we start walking on the highway, and we start walking on the divider. Because again, the things you don't realize, the highway is like this. It's not a flat road. And it's like this at a very steep incline. So if you're standing on the divider, the water comes up till here. If you're standing that side, the water is still here. I'm not kidding. And I'm a tall person, so if the water has come till here, by the time I reached Santa Cruz, the water was up till here. Some interesting things that I saw. Cars are standing on the flyover, aise baithe, and people are tapping. Some guy is honking. I'm like, bhai, kya honk kar raha hai? Kahan jane wala hai? Utar jao and start walking. Nobody's going to steal your car. Baithe. Then I realized, at least I'm not one of those types here. Because AC gaadi chalne wale types, I saw people sitting on the divider and eating. And this colleague of mine, by then I tried to get him into conversation, and he was very grumpy, very funny, didn't say anything. So at one point of time, we passed one bundle kept on the divider. And he says, I wonder what that is. I said, maybe it's a dead body. I was trying to make him laugh. And then he looks at me, gives me a strange look, and he says, can't you be a little cheerful? I said, maybe it's half a dead body. He says, okay, you know what, never mind. So we walk a little further, and by then the water level is risen till here, and I have to get off the divider because there's so many of us walking on the divider. And at one point of time, something comes floating up to me. Now keep in mind, this is already around 7:30, and it's pitch blackness everywhere because they've switched off the lights. Something I didn't know till then, but eyes have gotten adjusted to it, that's why we can see. Something comes floating up to me, and it bumps against my hip. And it's about this big. And I saw it, and my first thought was, what did I just tell him over there? I joked about it, and I actually went like this, and he caught me, and he says, not a dead body. It's a bike, a seat which has come floating off. I said, okay, alright, no more jokes. continued walking. I saw the Asian Paints building on the right hand side. That's how I knew how far I'd walked on the highway. At one point of time, I saw there was one wall, and it turned out to be a wall of human beings standing, like linked elbows. I was like, "Kya kar rahe hain?" By then, मेरा दिमाग खराब हो गया. I'm just trying to ram through them, you know, like in Andheri station when you get down, and or the other station when you get down in a peak hour traffic train, you just start elbowing your way like this, right? You edge in like this. Elbows are a very good thing to have, and I'm doing the same thing. And they're saying, "नहीं, आप आगे नहीं जा सकते. There's a lot of current. आप आगे नहीं जा सकते." And these are civilians. They are not army or police or anything. They're just regular people like me. Because I can see they're wearing like their work clothes and all. And I'm arguing with one of them, saying, "I'm a good swimmer. मुझे घर जाना है बस." My colleague again stops and he's like, "Ramya, stop. We'll find some other way." So then we turned and we crossed over the gutter near the highway, walked through the slums. I kept thinking, oh, slum area, maybe someone koi mera pocket mar dega, somebody will rape me. Nothing of that sort happened. People are standing around. At one point, I developed a cramp. I just sat down on the road in my nice clothes and I said, "मैं नहीं जा रही हूँ." And this guy says, "No, we'll wait then. We'll wait. I'm not going anywhere." I said, "नहीं, तुम जाओ. I'll figure out my way." He says, "No, I'm not going anywhere. When you stand up, when you're ready, stand up and then we'll continue walking." We continued walking. We crossed over to Santa Cruz West again. So from West, we'll go to East and then come back again. And then we came into the West. And then I remembered I had a family friend staying in Santa Cruz West. So I told him, "Family friend है यहाँ पे इसी lane में, near that aeroplane park." So he says, "Okay, you're sure?" And I said, "Yeah, पानी यहाँ तक आ गया है यार, कितना चलना है यार? It's already, we've been walking for hours now." So we start walking down that lane and it's one little deserted lane. And again that lane is going downwards, so the water is rising up. At one point of time, this guy just stops and says, "I am not moving any further." It's going to look very bad if I tell him, "I'm going to go ahead." He waited for me. So I tell him, "No, please." And I keep trying to convince him and he refuses to move. I keep telling him, "It's that building, which building dikhai dega, we can get there." He says, "No, I'm not moving anymore. The water's coming here. I cannot go underwater." And at that moment, I suddenly remembered the family we were going to meet. The previous month had moved to the building 2 before that. It almost seemed like, I mean, this is serendipity, 1 month before. So I told him, "It's right here." We took a turn, walked over the gutter. I went and stayed at that family friend's place. I got home the next day at 4 in the evening, 24 hours after I started from walking from Chinchpokli. And in that time, I saw students standing around near Mitibai College, my college, and cleaning the gutters. A lady sitting next to me in the bus that I got back home asked me, "Khana khaya kya?" I got food from office when I left and all. And I realized that 24-hour cycle made me think of my city differently. The city took care of me. Nothing happened to me. Nothing happened to anyone that I knew. A lot of us walked very, very long distances and so many things could have gone wrong. There could have been so many rapes, so many murders, so much theft, so many break-ins. I didn't hear about any such thing. What I saw everywhere was people helping each other, people just all kinds of things. People saying, "Do you have numbers? Do you want us to call? Is there any emergency? Can we help you out?" That whole thing just changed the way I see my city,